I'm Sara, and welcome to Coffee and Crochet with Sara today. It's been an interesting couple of days with all the snow and all of just the things that go along with a snow blizzard. And it was really kind of interesting. A couple years ago, two to be exact, we had the exact same type of storm. And it came up in my Facebook memories, my husband out on the tractor, because we have a really long driveway, and because we live in kind of a rural area, out on the tractor clearing snow. And it was so funny. I laughed so hard because it came up in my memories yesterday that it was exactly 2 years ago that he was doing the same thing, clearing 6-foot drifts out of the road and off of our driveway with the tractor. So it was kind of funny. We were so blessed. We never lost electricity. And the reason that's so important, to me, I mean, it's important to everybody, but we live on a well, or we live off of a well for our water. And it's run by electricity. So when we lose electricity, we not only lose the lights in our house, but we also lose water. And so what I usually do now is just fill up the bathtubs with water so that if you have to use, the necessary room, you can get water to flush that. What a thing to talk about. Anyway, I'm just super blessed. I've got electricity still today. And I just saw on the news we have more snow coming this afternoon around 2 or 3. So spring snows in Colorado really are the best. I mean, the snow is thick and heavy, makes good snowmen and good snowballs. We can get snow anytime up and through the end of May. And usually they're just like you'll get a dumping of snow and then it melts the next day. So anyway, oh, I just got a notice from Facebook. They're having trouble with my video. I hope you all can see me. That notice came up last week as well, and I'm not really sure why. But I can see some of you all commenting, so I know that you are commenting. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's go ahead and get going, okay? The first thing we need to do, of course, is clink in. So everybody, clinkety clink clink, clinkety clink clink. And good morning and welcome. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to announce the winner of the March giveaway. And I was so excited about this giveaway because this yarn is just gorgeous. All right, let me show it to you one more time. The winner is going to receive 3 of these skeins of Shawl and a Ball. This color is called Graceful Green, and I want to show it to you again. Isn't that gorgeous? I think with 3 skeins, you could make yourself a shawl and a beautiful lightweight spring blanket. Or maybe if you've got some friends, make them all one. Either way, you're going to receive 3 skeins of Shawl and a Ball in this gorgeous green color. And then you're also going to receive one of the Coffee and Crochet with Sara Project bags. You're going to get this exact bag. It's all ready to go. All I have to do is close that bag up with the yarn and put that in there. And then I always add a little something from me also. All right, so before I announce the winner, I want to remind you to never, ever, 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 ever put any of your personal information in a comment. Okay, never put your email address, never put your shipping address, any of those things in a comment. Never, ever do that, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to contact me either through here on Posh Pooch Designs on Facebook through a message, or you can hit that blog. Sorry, not blog. You can go to www.poshpoochdesigns.com and hit that contact button. You'll also find that link when you watch the video over on YouTube. That link is underneath where it says the website. You can just go there, hit that contact button. Those are the only 2 ways I want you to contact me, because if you contact me other places, a lot of times I don't see it. And especially don't send me a message or contact me on my personal page, because if we're not friends, I won't see it, okay? So that's how you contact me. And I just want to really, really, really stress, never, ever, ever put your personal information in a comment anywhere, okay? I will need your shipping address, and if you want to be contacted with a tracking number, I will need that email address, okay? But again, don't put it anywhere in a comment. All right, are you ready? I don't have a very good drum roll today. The winner of the March giveaway is Stephanie Steele Garrett. Stephanie, Stephanie. The next name is Steele, Steal, and the last name is Garrett, Garrett. Congratulations, Stephanie. And again, contact me. Now, they told us we're not going to have mail today. And so it'll probably go out on Thursday. If you contact me within the next 24 hours, I'll have it all packed up and ready to go. I'll get that shipping label on it and send it out on Thursday. All right, congratulations. That's a great prize. Now, in case you don't know, the way that I do my giveaways is the first Tuesday of each month, I announce what the giveaway is. And that gives you 2 weeks. And all you have to do to be entered is to comment on the Facebook Live or comment on YouTube when it gets over there. Everybody whose name is comments are in the giveaway. And then I just put that in the random generator, and whatever name comes up, that's the winner. Paige says, I wish you lived here in Ohio. No snow here. I love snow. I absolutely do. And I'm sorry that you don't have any snow. One thing about living in the area that we live in, because I live in Parker, which is a little south of Denver, we have fantastic road clear crews. You know, every now and then, like yesterday, you might be stranded for a couple of hours as far as at your house not being able to get out. But they have great rescue teams that get people out if you have to get to the doctor and things like that. And they're fantastic at clearing the roads. I live on a dirt road, and by last night, a plow had come through. Okay, so I do feel very blessed to live where I live. All right, moving on. All right, we're going to talk about the subject, does size in crochet really matter? Okay, so one of the things that kind of bugs me, and I'm a pretty easygoing person, I don't get bugged too often, but when I put a pattern out and it's in a chunky yarn, okay, a good example is I did a chunky hat, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. It was just a basic granny square chunky hat. I had some beautiful chunky 6 yarns that I used, and you needed to use a great big crochet hook. Well, I got an email, and it was not very kind, that said she tried my pattern and it was a poorly written pattern and didn't work. So I messaged her back and I said, let me help you. What yarn did you use? What hook did you use? And did you measure as you go? Okay, so she said, well, I didn't have any bulky 6, so I used a medium 4. I didn't have an end hook, which was a 10.00 millimeter crochet hook, so I used a H hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. And she said, and it came out way too small. I said, well, that's because you used too small of a hook and too small a yarn. It was different. If you want to use a medium weight yarn for this pattern, you're going to need to use 2 strands held together. So then she messaged me back. She goes, oh, it turned out perfect. Thank you for your help. And so to me, when someone sends me a message like that, it's a little bit disingenuous because you used a different hook than I suggested, you used a different yarn than I suggested, and then you didn't measure as you go. All right, so I want to show you some charts here. This is just off my blog. And if you want this chart, this is one I just put together. And if you want this, you can go to the blog and you can copy and paste this off. And you can find lots of other charts on YouTube and on Facebook, on different blogs, Google, anywhere you can find it. All right, so what I have right here is a yarn chart. And you can see it goes from 0 to 7. And they've also added now a jumbo super 8 for the really thick new yarns. Okay, so you've got a 0, which is a lace weight, and it goes all the way up to a jumbo, which is a 7. Now, those 2 yarns are not the same. They're completely different. These are a fingering weight. Then you've got a super fine that's like a sock weight. You've got a fine that's a sport weight. You've got a light that's a DK or light worsted weight. You've got a medium 4 that can be a worsted weight or an Aran. You've got a bulky that's a chunky or rug, craft rug. You've got a super bulky that is a 6, and you can see it's got super bulky and roving. Jumbo is a jumbo, and some roving is in jumbo. And then, of course, that super jumbo, which is that great big thick yarn that a lot of people are making those blankets out of. But what I'm trying to say about this is when you use a lace weight, it's not going to come out the same as a jumbo weight. You've got to use the yarn that, as far as the weight, that the pattern you're following recommends. Okay? So that's very important. So that size definitely matters. Now let's talk about crochet hooks a little bit. And this is just an American number chart. You've got all the letters, we've got some numbers, and then we've got some millimeters as far as sizing. And this is really important because your B hook is a 2.25 millimeter, but look down here, 9 millimeter. And some of these, like I have an N hook that's a 10 millimeter. And one thing I found out recently that's kind of has annoyed me is some of the crochet hook companies have changed their millimeters. So it's real important when you do a crochet pattern, don't just go by the number and don't just go by the letter. Make sure you check those millimeter sizes. And this is real important also because if you're using the wrong size hook, your project is not going to come out right. All right? That's why on every pattern, a pattern designer will tell you what yarn weight they used and what hook size they used. And it's not always going to be the same per yarn. Now, I want to show you this. I'm going to move this out of the way. This is a new yarn that I found. It's probably not new to some of you, but I absolutely love this yarn. It's Ice Cream Cotton Blend. It's got 47% cotton and 53% acrylic, which a cotton and acrylic blend is one of my favorite summer type yarns to use. It's a medium 4. And on this yarn label, it even gives you a recommended size hook, I 5.5 millimeter. And most yarn companies, this one is Lionbrand, will give you a recommended size crochet hook for that yarn. Now, I don't always use that because it depends on what I'm going to make. I made the Sunny Ponchette using the yellow, which is lemon, in this yarn. And I used a J hook. And the reason I did that, it's a little bit bigger. It's a 6 millimeter. And the reason I did that is because it's supposed to be more open and lacy. And so your best bet when doing a crochet pattern is whatever pattern designer that you're using, they're going to give you a recommended weight of yarn and a recommended crochet hook. Use what they recommend. And then if it's coming out just a wee bit small or a wee bit large, you can always adjust that. In other words, if you used a J hook, where's my J here? 6 millimeter, and it's coming out just a tad too big, you can go down to your 5.50. If it's coming out just a little bit too small, you can go up to your 6.5. And the reason I stress this is because everybody crochets differently. Some of us have a tighter tension and gauge than others. And I've said this many times. Let me scoot back over here. I tend to be a loose hooker. I tend to crochet looser than other pattern designers. There's a couple of different pattern designers that I know. One of them, Repeat Crafter, I love her patterns. And when I do them, I always have to go up a half size in order to meet the sizing, okay? And that is where, and I say this all the time, measure as you go. This is so important. I can't tell you how many times people will tell me the hat was too long, the sleeve on something was too long, or, you know, maybe it wasn't long enough. Measure, measure, measure as you go. You can always add chains if it's, you know, a flat type rows of crochet. And you can always do decrease stitches if you have too many. And one thing, there are things that you can do if, you know, you're making a hat, right? So the designer says to only do 7 rows. Well, it's hitting you way up here. Do a few more rows. It's okay, you know. And it's so funny because I get people all the time to ask me, is it okay if I add a row to your hat? Absolutely, you're making it for you or for someone you're going to give it to, and you want it to fit, right? And so that is so important. And so the bottom line of this little conversation is size does matter in crochet. It's so important to have the proper tools, you know. It's a good idea to get you a chart like this and keep it handy though. Knowing the yarn weights, knowing the crochet hooks, sizes is very, very, very important. And to me, one of the most important tools is tape measure. And like I say, I have these everywhere. Every crochet bag I take along, any traveling that I do, anywhere I go, I take this tape measure. Well, not this one, all the other ones I have. And the truth is, every time I go into Joann's or I go into Hobby Lobby and I have them sitting in those bins, and they're like $1.99, or sometimes I've seen them at 99 cents, different places, Michael's, if they have some of these out, I'll grab a couple because there's 2 reasons. I use them a lot, and they are inexpensive and they do break, but also my grandkids love playing with them. And I kind of like it too. Anyway, for any crafter, crochet, knitting, whatever you're doing, your tape measure is your very, very, very best friend. Okay? So, learn those yarn weights. Learn those crochet hooks. And when a designer gives you a yarn weight and when they give you a crochet hook size, it's because they've used that on that pattern. They're not just guessing, okay? Okay, Paige up here, Loveless, says she's just started crocheting and she wants to find things to help her learn. Okay, I say this also, Google is your friend. And one of the places that you can go to is the Crochet Guild of America. Just Google Crochet Guild of America. And it has just pages and pages of things like these charts that will help you. Okay? My light flashed. Oh, I hope I'm not going to lose electricity. after I talked about what a blessing it was not to lose it. That was weird. The whole thing just kind of flashed. Okay, so anyway, there are lots of good tools for you to use. And being familiar, you don't have to memorize it, but being familiar with the yarn weights and being familiar with the crochet hook sizes charts will help you. The other thing that will help you a lot is to learn to read a yarn label. They give you so much information. They give you ounces and yards. They give you the content of the fiber. It tells you what the weight is, even tells you knitting and crochet hook suggestions. And then down here, these symbols, these are all, whether you can wash it or dry it or iron it, things like that. Usually if you're looking for the die lot, look for the UPC, and usually you'll have probably the color above it, and then the die lot is usually right there. Die lots are very important also. Some yarns used to be, die lots weren't a problem because the acrylic yarn is dyed a little bit different than say, oh, there's Aiden. Hi, Aiden. Aiden's my grandson. Hi. I didn't see you pop in there. Oh, that's right. They're on spring break this week. So anyway, the die lot is really important. And years ago, Red Heart and some of the other yarns didn't have that. They're like, well, it's not important because of the way acrylics are dyed. But now, and someone said that the Red Heart's a lot softer now. And I think it's because it's been bought by Yarnspirations, and they're kind of doing a rehaul on a lot of that stuff. So Yes, Heidi, YouTube is also your friend. You can find all kinds of interesting knowledge on YouTube. When you go to YouTube, at the top there's a search bar. Put in anything you're looking for, and it will come up with something for you. A lot of people prefer videos. A lot of people prefer to just pull up a blog and read about it. There's tons of information out there for you. I kind of get a kick sometimes because I'll get questions that I think, why don't they know that? And then I'm like, okay, remember, everybody's at a different place in their crochet journey. And just because you've been crocheting for 45 years doesn't mean you have all the answers. And just because you've only been crocheting for a year doesn't mean you're not a good crocheter. And so everybody's at a different place, and we need to be thankful for that, because those questions come up, can remind us and help us. But also, be willing to answer questions also. Um, um, I keep reading these. I'm trying to see if there's questions. She said, YouTube's your answer. I'm sure y'all can see these. So anyway, one of the things that you can keep in mind is when you're working a pattern, there's also a skill level on there. And beginner and easy are not the same. Beginner is your basic stitches. Easy is one step up from that. And that's another question that I get quite often. It says, you said this is an easy pattern, but it is not a beginner. And I'm like, you're right, it's not. You know, so keep that in mind when you're working a pattern. Another thing that you can always remember when you're working a pattern is contact the designer if there's a question. Sometimes the way I word things is perfectly clear in my brain, but it might not be perfectly clear in yours. And we all think differently. Some of us are visual learners. Some of us are visual learners. Some of us like to see it all written down. And I've said this often about myself and my daughter. My daughter is an amazing knitter and crocheter, and she has a more technical brain, where my brain is more artsy fartsy. I just think something up and I can just do it. I don't need a pattern. And so, you know, years and years ago, when I first started writing my patterns down, I made them as short as possible. And because I didn't like all the nonsense in the patterns that I was finding, I just felt like it was just too much information. Well, now I've gotten where I understand where some of that information is important. All right. All right. So, another thing you can find out when I was talking about pattern skill, you can also go and find a chart on that. And it's kind of funny what I do, because it goes from beginner to easy to intermediate. But I put a level in between the easy and intermediate. I call it the moderate. And that's because it's relatively an easy pattern, but it's not a difficult pattern. And so it's kind of like just a level I put in there sometimes. Maybe if there's a twisted front post or something that's a little more complicated, I might put that in that level. But keep that in mind. Again, you can find all of this on Google, on YouTube, and go to the Crochet Guild of America. And also, All Free Crochet. It's a free site, web page that you can go to that has lots of really good charts on all of these things. And another one, and I always hesitate to say this, but it's called Crochet For Dummies. And it's not that you're dumb, it's just a wordplay. And they have a lot of really good pictures that are sketches, kind of like clip art. And I liked that a lot when I was trying to figure out the right wording of things. And so that's another one that you can go to. All Free Crochet, Crochet For Dummies, Crochet Guild of America, a lot of these things, Google and YouTube. We have a lot of really good crochet information at our fingertips, and we need to use that. But don't feel embarrassed or ashamed to ask a question, okay? That's also important, because just because I may know something doesn't mean you do. And just because another person knows it doesn't mean you do. And that's where I work really hard on keeping things what I would call drama-free, because I want everyone to be kind and loving to each other, and I don't want any unkind comments going on my YouTube channel or in the groups or on the page or anything like that. Our goal here is to have a loving and kind and thoughtful and helpful crochet community. Is I think this, and I've said this many times, this is our time. You know, we come together and we can just talk about crochet stuff and yarny goodness and just get away from everything that's going on, unless your light flickers in your house. Like mine did a while ago. I was like, oh no, I don't want that to happen right now. Alrighty. Okay. Now, that's our discussion on, does size matter in crochet? And the answer is absolutely yes. And you can adjust that. Okay, so let's talk about what we did this week at Posh Pooch Designs. I'm going to go ahead and click over to the roaming camera. This is the Sunshine Ponchette, and it is so much fun to wear and to make, and it's super easy to adjust to make it bigger or smaller. I lost my train of thought because I saw a question. Anyway, I love this pattern, and this is made with the ice cream yarn that I showed you earlier, the cotton blend, and the color is called yellow, and I called it Sunshine. And I called it Sunshine because that's what I think about with all these variegated yellow colors on it. And I just absolutely love it. And one of the things you can do is, once you get it to the last row of increase, you can make it as long as you want to, and you can turn it into not just a ponchette, but a long poncho if you want to. And I did one in the Americana. It's the red, white, and blue from Red Heart. And I made it quite a bit longer, and I really like it. It's really pretty. I should have brought it out. It's sitting right there. I should have brought it out. But I really like it. And this is a really neat pattern. And it's a perfect addition to, say, like a sundress, or even if you're going on vacation and you want to just make it to wear over your bathing suit at the beach, or whatever, walking around the resort or whatever. It's just a really lightweight. And if you don't have to use this particular cotton, any of your cottons will work. And I like it best with the cotton blend, because I think having that acrylic in there helps it hold its shape a little bit better. But that's our Sunshine Ponchette, and we did that this week. The other thing that we did was the shrug. And I'm going to put this one on so you can see how it works. It's super comfortable, and it also is a great spring project. I'm going to spin a little so you can kind of see. See all that? Well, it's a great, I did this one in the Red Heart ombre. It's called a hot sauce. I absolutely love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful ombre. And I think it would be great for another thing to add, like if you're going out in a sundress or a tank top or something, and you just want to add a little extra fun. It's just gorgeous. It's easy to wear, and it comes in a lot of sizes. We've adjusted it. Originally, I just had it in a medium and then told you how to adjust it. But I added some length and some width, so you can adjust it. And on the pattern, it goes from small up through 2X. So, and I really love it. It's super easy to make because it's a super simple pattern. Okay, then what we did yesterday for our stitch of the month was, let me get this go the right way, is we did what's called tulips in a row. Here's the green of the tulip, and then our main color. And I really love it. It looks really pretty. It's a lightweight scarf. I did mine together to make it into a cowl, because you know I talk about all the time how I lose my scarves. And this is a spring skinny scarf. One of the things we're going to do is tomorrow I have another pattern using this particular style to make a really cute Easter basket. And I'm going to show you that tomorrow. It's just kind of a little hint of what's coming. And if you don't know what the stitch of the month is, what we're doing is the third Monday of each month, I'm showing you how to make a swatch of a stitch pattern. And this was the tulips in a row stitch pattern. Okay, and then we'll make the swatch, and I give you the multiples, and you'll find that on the the video as well as on the blog, so you could make it into a blanket, a purse, a bag, a hat, whatever you want to by using those multiples. But because we made a swatch, I have you, if you want to, make a scarf so that you can practice it and get to know it better. It's a lot of fun to learn new stitches, and it's also fun to learn how to use it in a pattern. Okay, and so what I'm talking about as far as the spring stuff, I've got some fun new spring patterns that we're going to be coming out this next week or so. And I'm super duper excited about those. And we've got, just to give you kind of a hint, we're going to do the Easter basket. It's a handleless Easter basket, which is kind of funny. I've got some new eggy pot holders. I've got a new bandana that is for the dogs and the cats for Easter and spring. Oh, and then we've got another wrap, and it's called Spring into Summer Wrap. So we've got lots of fun things going on, and we're just going to keep it going. You know, I had someone ask me the other day, how in the world, with everything going on in your life, can you keep going? And you know what? It's keeping me moving and going that helps me stay up and happy and find joy in everything. And even though I got snowed in, under 6 feet of snow, snow is beautiful. It sparkles like thousands of diamonds if you go out and see it in the sunshine. And it's you know, something my mom always taught me is it's just a frame of mind. And a lot of people shut down, and that's okay if that's the way you do things. It's not wrong. It's just not what I do. And so what I do is when things are rough, just like the last couple days, you know, snowed in, I did a good thing. My husband picked up milk on the way home. I had picked up dog food and coffee, and we were good. And so what I do is I just keep going. And so I got out my book of ideas and just started working on spring projects. And so now we've got some wonderful spring projects to do in the future. So I just wanted to give you a hint of what's to come. I've already got lined up what our April giveaway is going to be. And so keep your spirits up. Spring's on its way, okay? And with that, I'm going to let you go. And remember, size does matter in crochet.